Hello and welcome to another day in the workshop. Today we are making a bench in the same style as our coat rack, which is kind of made from reclaimed wood and also FSC certified wood. But it's just a little shoe rack with a bench on top. So the idea is that it's got laminated bits of wood on the top here and then a frame underneath as a shoe rack. So for the outside parts of the frame, we're using solid ash, English ash. And for the top part of the frame, we're using a variety of oak, walnut, and then some reclaimed wood, which I've got here. It's quite a long process. So I've started out by marking out the wood. So if you've gone to a wood yard and you bought some wood, the first thing that you need to sort out is a cut list. So I have exactly figured out what I need to cut and where I need to cut before I've even started. So I'll start with the oak. I just need one 70mm wide, 1 meter long strip of oak to go into the top. So I'm going to cut it at maybe 120, 130 to give me a chance for any problems with planer snipe. So I've marked that up just with a wood crayon there, roughly. And then I'll get my plunge saw out and start cutting some straight edges and put it through the planer thicknesser. The walnut, I just need two little strips, a 10mm strip and a 20mm strip, again about 1 meter long. So I'll mark that out in a minute. Then in my ash, I actually need to make this entire thing something like 14 meters of perfect ash. So I've got one 2.4 board here. So I've effectively cut that in half. And then once I've cut the waning edge off and got a straight edge, I think I'm gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 usable strips of 40mm, which is what I need from that. So we're going to start by cutting a straight edge off that and then going from there. And then these other bits, I just need varying sizes. So this one I need, which I've just marked on here, about a 30mm strip. This one I need a 20mm strip. And this one I need two 30mm strips, which I think I'll get by the same depth for 26. So quite a lot to machine up and get done. Let's get started. Okay, so next we need to put a straight edge on all these pieces of wood. I couldn't do it in one long run because I haven't got enough of the track, so I'm just going to do it one piece at a time and get one really straight edge. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, that's perfect. So I just want to show you the type of quality of edge you get with one of these track saws. Hopefully you can see this. You can see there's just a couple of saw marks at the beginning, but that's where I kind of hung about for a bit. But as far as the rest of it goes, it's near perfect, see? So that's now given me the straight edge that I need on the wood, and everything else can come off there. Okay, so that's it. I've got all the materials that I need for the entire build, hopefully. So I've cut everything about 5 or 10mm more because I've still got to plane it all the way around. And I need all these pieces to end up exactly the same thickness. So I need to be careful that I keep them the right way around. So with the pieces of ash here, I cut these all at around about 45, some of them a bit less than that, but around about 45 to give me a little bit to work with to get them down to a dimension of 40. And the same with everything else, but they all need to end up about, well, as thick as I can get them really, but maybe they'll probably end up 26, 27, depending on how thick that can be. I did make a slight mistake because, and if you can see here, I kind of went a bit over to give myself some extra space because I was worried that I might take me more planing than I thought, because I could see there was a little bow in it, but by taking a few mil off, I ended up about 3 mil too short for what I needed. So I don't know if you can see here on these end pieces, but I was too short. But actually I only need sort of about this much, so I think I'll get that, and the same on this one. And I have actually got some extras here as well, so I think for the components that I actually need, quite a few at sort of 300 and 240 and things like that, I should have enough here. So I'm going to stop there now and start the planing and thicknessing process. Okay, so I've planed one edge, squared one edge, and this is what the wood all looks like now. So I've just turned them all over, marked them all, ready to put this side through the thicknesser. So they all need to be the same thickness. I want to get away with as much as I possibly can, but it's looking like they're going to end up at something like 27, 28 maybe. So some of them got quite a lot to go, some of them not so much. So on to the next step. Show you what I'm doing with the laminated top. I need to end up at 300, so I've got a variety of different woods, all different sizes, so I've just added up what roughly I think they're going to plane down to, and that comes to 303, which is perfect. So it leaves me a couple of mil for sanding. So I'll just show you how I planned it. Okay, so I've got my nice little drawing here. I've labelled it orange wood, oak, ash, dark, and walnut. As you can see, I've got all the measurements that I laid out on a plan here earlier, and these are all my woods in the right order, ready to get them planed down. So I'm just going to do that now. So the first one is the oak at 75. Over here, that's it. Okay, so that was a hell of a job, to be quite honest with you. Tons and tons and tons of stuff to do. But now we've got our laminations ready. So we turn all these over, we can stick all these together. And I want to get this done tonight because it's cold and I don't want them to give them a chance to bow. So I'm going to do that next. I'll stick on the ash on the outsides separately because I've got to do all the jointing on that. But for now, we can get these stuck together. So I'm nearly ready to joint these boards now, but I just need to set up a little stop so I can have something to push the festool against. So I've just got this old piece of ash, driven a couple of holes, and that's it. So that needs to be removed. Right. So I'm not going to joint the ash now, so I'm going to move the ash out of the way. Okay, but I do want to join these, so I just need to check them to check that they're all going to fit, and they're all looking pretty good, to be honest. Now, I've got a problem. I've got a slight bit of plane snipe on here, and maybe not taken off quite enough here, so I think this needs addressing before we go any further. Okay, I think the quickest way to solve this is to take like 0.5 millimeter off. Okay, so then what you want to do is line them up and just make sure that if you've got planer snipe or anything like that, that they're well out of the way of the area that you need to end up with. So I like to just go on and mark on the wood areas that shouldn't be used. So like anywhere from here on this piece of wood. It's okay there. Okay, so I'm going to want to do some jointing. So I think I'll leave 100 back just to allow for jointing the edges. 100, 450, 800 on the first piece, 200, 50, 700. Then on the next piece I'm going to go back to 100 again, 45 or 450, 800, and back again to 200, 500. Okay, so that gives me the locations for all the dominoes to make sure this is secure. Now, before I do anything else, I just need to know my depth settings for the domino before I start. I've already set the height at about halfway, at about 13 mil. So now I just need to double check all these dimensions to make sure the depth is okay. So the biscuits I'm using are these ones, which are 50 mil, which should be fine for all of this stuff. So 25 mil would be okay on that one, I just need to check that. Okay, so they're marked up. Okay, my depth is set to 20 for this one, so it's not too deep. Okay, everything's lined up and secure, here we go. Okay, that's great. I'm just going to check these for fit now. Okay, that's looking great. So we can move on to the next one. So I've just realised the problem with my little jig here. It may be slightly higher than this stuff, and that could make my joints out. So just take a couple of minutes. Okay, that's fixed. Okay, so that's all the holes cut for the dominoes. I need to cut some dominoes down because these ones are a bit too long, but I can just do that on the bandsaw. So I need 6 of these at 35 mil, something like that. So let's do that next and then we can do glue up. Okay, so before I start glue up, I've just got some kind of old 180 grit sandpaper. I'm just going to go down the edges and make sure there's nothing stuck on there from the planer thicknesser. You can see there's a few little bits coming off. I don't want to do a lot though. That's all I want to do is take off what's on there. Just do that on every edge. So make sure all these domino holes are cleared out. Okay, great. So that's everything cleared out, ready to go. I've got prepared, I've got my glue, my clamps all set up. I've got a little bucket with water in down here. Everything's ready to go. And some packing pieces for the end so I don't damage it. So with that in mind, let's go for it. Lamination's what you need. So let's show you. Okay, so here you go. Here's what it looks like. I put as many clamps on as I can, and I've come back and retightened all of the clamps to make sure it's properly laminated. So I don't know if any of you spotted, but where I had the registration face of the domino, it was something like £500,000 higher than some of the wood I was actually planing. I figured that out after the first 2 or 3 cuts with the domino, but that has meant that, of course, they're slightly out of alignment. So it's no problem. I can just whack it through the planer tomorrow before I add the sides and go from there. But a lesson for next time. But I think it's looking great. So next we've got to add the ash sides, cut 45 degrees, make the whole frame for the shoe rack, do all that malarkey. But I'll probably cover that in part 2. So thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, please click and subscribe, and check me out on Patreon if you could help out. You'd be an absolute rock star. And if you've got any videos you want to see, anything that you would like me to make, just put it in the comments below and I'll see if I can do it. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.